Hope you enjoyed that really shitty meme, and welcome back to the channel for the next Gunpla video. This is kind of the reverse kit bash of my Zoof. If you want to see that video, the link will be in the description. So I basically used a lot of the remaining parts while deciding to customize a significant portion of it, and I'm kind of using a little bit of parts from two other kits, but we'll get into that. So this is kind of like a 2-4 kit bash thing. Let's get right into it. First thing I wanted to do was customize the shield of the goof to be turned into a shoulder shield, much like a Gaku 2 has. To that end, I luckily just had like a 2-piece in the PC in my spare parts, so I super glue that inside the shield, and it fits perfectly with the shoulder piece of the Gaku 2, so big thumbs up there. Next thing I wanted to do was turn the Gaku 2 machine gun into a submachine gun, something a bit smaller. He's already going to be using that sniper rifle from the kit, so I want just a smaller secondary weapon. So first thing I want to do is take off that stock, so I cut it off and sanded it smooth. The other thing I was going to do was use a magazine from the Master Grade Jesta and put that on top of the Gaku 2 machine gun instead of the drum barrel. And you get this if you do exactly what I described. And I think it looks pretty. It comes out looking a bit more like a machine pistol than a submachine gun, I guess. But the stock is nice and smooth, looks fine. The magazine sits on top of there perfectly good with a little bit of super glue. Used, scriber to make a little hole in the barrel there, make it a little bit more believable, I guess. But it should look a lot more clean and whatnot once fully painted. We'll see that later in the video, of course. But for now, I think it looks pretty all right. There's a little bit side-by-side comparison, but yeah. Next thing I did was, I didn't want to use the Gaku 2 head top, and I already used the goof one, of course. But I did have an extra one from the Gira Daga, or Gira Zulu kit that I made a while back. So I just used a little bit of the rack and super glued. While I'm here, I figured I'd show you guys kind of me and my partner's whole crafting shelf area. Most of this stuff is hers because she's into a lot more things than I am, of course. But here I am with all my crap. There's some top coats, primers, spray paints, hand paints, Warhammer minis, washes, hand primer, super glue, dish kits, painting base, oh my god, and a bunch of other shit I still need to work on, whether Warhammer or whatnot. And this is my super awesome tackle box I got for Christmas. It holds all of my Gunpla tools. It's perfect. There's a little bit of terrain in there for the Warhammer bases. And of course, it wouldn't be a Gunpla video without Buddy, especially him fucking up my chair the way he has. But it's alright, because he's super cute. But the next part, of course, is everybody's favorite, Optimus Prime. So this is kind of my shitty makeshift priming station. I went to my parents' garage. But while I was here, I decided it was best to turn the goof sword into a combat knife. I think it'd fit the kit a lot more better, especially with the color scheme that I'll be going with. So to that end, I cut off each side of the hilt to make it a bit more slender and, you know, something you'd actually see like on the side of a giant mech, I guess. But you wouldn't see a dagger with such a big, obnoxious hilt. And as you can see from the video, I already cut out the rough shape of the dagger. Now I'm just going to use some sanding sticks, mostly 220, upgrade a little bit higher from there, just to sand the absolute shit out of it. And you kind of get this when you're done, and I think it looks awesome. Moving up those sand sticks really helps smooth it out. It looks a lot more nicer. I can actually say how it's going to turn out once fully painted, so happy with this knife, dude.
Is a knife.
That's not a knife, that's a spoon.
All right, you win. I see you've played knifey spoony before.
So here's all my prime parts ready to paint. I put them in bags and labeled them by color. So for this kit, the main 3 colors I'll be using is Gunship Gray for the weapons. Olive Drab is the main armor color, and Ijin Gray is kind of like the frame color. Here is an example of one of the 3 colors completely done. This is all the Olive Drab. I think it came out looking pretty good overall. And here's all the weapons painted, the Gunship Gray. There's that shoulder piece. I never ended up actually using the kit because I couldn't actually put it over the shoulder. I don't know why I didn't think of that when I was customizing the shoulder piece, but you know, some things just go by, I guess. But Gunship Gray is a nice, darker, flat gray, which I think looks great on weapons. Here's all 3 of them now, fully painted, tons of bags of parts. I got some shit to say about that Olive Drab and that Ijin Gray towards the end of the video once we have more time, but for now. We're going on to the actual assembly bit. Got everything ready to go here between my two kits. All the parts in there. I got all the actual like parts I didn't paint on the left side there, and yeah, that's how I usually assemble. We have the left arm here with the modified shoulder shield I was talking about earlier. I think it came out looking pretty legit overall. There's some jank in that shield because of the Indian Gray pooling, and I'm not super happy about that, so I was kind of forced to go into more of like a weathered, beat up look in this build, which I haven't really done before. So to that end, I just used up a lot of wash. I tried my best to be as minimalist as possible so it wasn't overbearing or anything like that, because, you know, over-weathering something is just a cardinal sin in my book, but we'll see that later. Here's the legs all done up. We're going to get into preview of other parts. I didn't put this particular section in sequence because I'm an idiot. Here's the chest piece and the backpack all done up. Looks pretty legit. There's going to be obviously lots of stuff we have to do that backpack to spruce it up a bit, but otherwise looks good. So here's the head fully assembled and glued on and all that stuff. I think it looks pretty alright. If I could have lowered that top of the helmet just a bit, I maybe would have, but helmet's such a delicate with it too much. And finally, the right arm here. So I modified just a little bit by removing the two side spikes, but I kept the main spike just to differentiate it from the Zoof. Construction's fucking done, and here we are with the pre-gloss coat finished product. So of course I still have to do panel lining and a wash, apply that to everything. Then I'll do a gloss coat. Then after I'm done that, I can apply all the decals I'll be using, and then we move on to the flat coat. So here we are with the wash. I kind of want to give an example how this kind of looks, how I'm going to be using it. So I put a little bit of wash in my brush and I rub out on some paper towel so you can barely see it. And then you kind of just gently apply it to the thing. Obviously, I can't use two hands here because I'm holding up my phone. So you'll have to bear with me, but that's the general rough idea of what I'm applying to a lot of places, but it also works great as a general panel liner. So here's the gun all done up. I did use one of the default stickers for the barrel, but I painted the stock brown, and I did a little bit of gunship metal on the barrel and a little bit of the underside, as well as the inner barrel part. I think it looks spectacular. This is one of the parts I wasn't really too concerned about, but I think it ended up becoming my favorite piece of the whole thing. So here's all my parts, all panel lined, painted, whatnot, ready for a gloss coat. This is a long time coming, a lot of work, but definitely worth it, especially consider this is just kind of like the leftover kit, if you will. There's some Mando pieces on there for my girlfriend. Here's all the decal, not all of the decals I used, but here's examples of decals I used. So I didn't use just classic Gunpla water slides, but I used a lot of Warhammer 40k water slides. A lot of them are very militaristic in nature, and it kind of fit my olive drab military color scheme that I had going on. I thought it came out looking great. You'll see that just in a moment here, but these things rock for the most part. So here's all the parts decaled up after a gloss coat. As you can see, a lot of these are the Warhammer 40k ones, like the 9 decals, the Sergeant decals, the Skull decals. They really pop on it. Like a white is kind of the single color you want to go with, but I do have a bunch of racing stripes on there trying to simulate that World War II bomber look. And here we go with the show off. Alrighty, as we go into our slideshow here. Classic for my channel, of course. I've done it twice, that means it's a classic. So of course that video and all these photos are after the flat coat. Overall, I think this kit turned out pretty great. It definitely has a more simpler look, something that you could end up seeing. This is just it on my main shelf with some of my other favorite kits. I'm just going to continue talking about it though. It definitely has like a simpler look to it than like my Zoof. It looks a bit more something like you'd maybe see in like a 0079. Especially with this more rounded head, gives it a bit more like those cartoony proportions, but I'm perfectly fine with that. These are my first 2 customized pieces, by the way, or I should say painted. I only do custom or painted stuff on mono eyes. I don't know why, but as you can see, my first 2 to my last 2, significant upgrade. It wouldn't be also one of my videos without a really shitty hands in the shot plate spin. It's kind of my thing. I'm gonna coin it. But here's an overall better look at the whole thing if you want to see that. But yeah, like I said, kind of more cartoony proportions, but that's all right. It was never going to be as good as the Zoof, in my opinion, just because the Zoof was my intention going into buying the 2 kits. But for the result that I got with the parts that I have left over, I really can't complain about it. I think it looks absolutely great. And you know what? With that, there's only one thing left to say.
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!